Hey guys, Cherryvodka here. I'm the melee officer for Big Dumb Guild, and today I've made a video to show you the overall melee strat for Mythic Argus. So we run 5 melee here. You can run 6, but anything more than 6 it gets a bit too crowded in melee, and the overall strat here is to always have set positions for your melee. So as you can see, there's a melee behind me, there's a melee to the right of me, on the other side's a similar situation. So once gaze go out, we don't get it, we move back behind the boss for the rest of the raid. Our melee rage needs to move left immediately after scythe. Because we're going right with the cone, we just don't want him in our way. So our first set of buffs go out. Ideally the sky buff is further to the left, so that once everyone's done picking up, our melee rage can also pick up a buff. So here we're about to move right with the cone, and then we immediately move left afterwards, and the reason because of that is he can scythe one more time, and there's a potential that if you're just a bit too far forward you get scythed. So here we have our second spread, we're back to spreading again, the gazes go out, and we go back behind the boss. The buffs drop, and there's a tight timing here between buffs and the cones, so you kind of want to pick up as quick as possible, but without risking yourself. If you can't pick up safely, don't pick up, it's fine. So we got a lot of downtime here. So P1 and P2 positioning in general is basically the same thing for melee, your spread stays the same. In P3 it varies a little bit, but nothing too special. So here we get our buffs, and our buffs need to run with us to dodge this cone. If they run late, it's a potential we drop the buffs in the cone and we just lose our stacks completely. So here, after we pick up the third stack, we're immediately back into spreading. So, and I get rage here, so I immediately second pot. The reason behind that is that, like, this is just the most uptime and most damage I'm going to get on the boss. I'm not going to get a 4th stack, I'm not going to get a 5th stack, so it's the best time here to pot. The 4th cone comes out. We drop our buffs here soon, and these buffs are dropped basically almost perfect. So as you see, the sky's to the left, our C is to the right with the raid. We have everyone pick up the sky that wants the sky buff safely, and then once everyone is out of the way, I go and pick up. The cone 5 comes out, and then after cone 5, it's another spread for gaze. So we all spread for gaze here, and we phase. So we all want to move into the middle of the boss and give our fears and rages time to move in as well. We drop our last set of buffs here, we pick up our buffs, and then it's just a burn for a while. So here this happens a lot for people, is the lightning buff will disappear, but the damage doesn't go away. So your tank will move, and then like your tank and all your melee just die. The way to stop that is you can't move him until his first scythe. After his first scythe, it basically states that the phase is ended, we're moving into phase 2, and all the timers start again. So here once again we're DPSing, wait for that scythe. It says 5 seconds, it can be early, it can be late, it's fine, the timers all just line up after that. So the scythe happens and we move the boss. Immediately after this the avatar goes out, and then we spread. So we spread here. Me and Vin both get rage, so I move across immediately after the scythe. Once again, it has to be immediately after, because if you do it during the in-between, there's a potential you run over someone, there's a potential that you get scythed, and it's just cleaner to do it this way. If you have fears in melee, you basically stand behind the boss and you just move together with everybody else. So the third tank, your other melee, and other people, potentially a range in there, and you just move together. If you get soul burst, you run straight behind with the tank, and you run to the back of the room. So here, for the most of the time, you're just dodging scythes. You have one rage to the left, you have one rage to the right, and it's literally just dodging scythes right now. I'm running engine on this fight. I honestly don't recommend engine if you can. The reason I'm running it is because mine's 955 and has avoidance on it, and it's just beneficial to have avoidance. But you have to game it, you have to make sure you just, you don't clip anybody with your buffs, and make sure you're not scaring anybody. So here's another spread. I can't make it across safely, so I just run out of melee. Obviously, I want to get to the spot that I'm supposed to, but if I can't, you just have to take a step out and give people their spots. It sucks, but that's just the way you have to do it. If there's a bit of downtime, it's fine. You just can't stay out there forever. So as you can see, we have one melee with fear, we're dancing together, and then both our melee with rage are on the left and the right of the boss. Then once again, if you get soul burst, you're running out with the big tank. Once again, we're just dodging edges. We call for a slow DPS here. Our bear tank trolls a little and just scythes our demon hunter. It's fine if you die here. because of timings, you want to die eventually just to reset your pods. The ideal push time in here is 4:15 is the earliest and 4:35 is the latest. And that helps you with your lust timing, meeting the berserk timer, and whatnot. So there's a lot of downtime here. So overall, phase 1, phase 2, you got set positions. You have, like I said, there's a melee behind me, there's a melee to the right of me, the other side's a similar situation. You never want to put yourself into a risk of killing anybody else or stacking on anybody else, and you always want to help your friends. So say the melee behind me gets the fear buff. If I run into the middle of the boss, I just failed that melee. I need to run backwards and I need to help him out because he can't get stacks. I don't need to get him to get stacks. I don't want to waste healer mana. So run back, help your friends with fear, and then everyone move together behind the boss. So here, after the res, we're bird's eye view, and the reason behind that is just you can see the ghost better, and you always just never want to risk it. You never want to hit a ghost. There's a potential you just wipe your raid at a very low percentage because you hit a ghost and people just don't get up in time and delay their damage. So we re-rune here, we third pot here, and we pop all our cooldowns. Obviously, we don't kick the boss. We let our Shadow Priest with Sephuz kick the boss just for a bit more DPS. So after the kick's done, there's one scythe. Don't run in front of the boss. Don't get hit by the scythe, and then move together as a group. So we all move. The scythes come out. The goal here is to always stand on the scythe that's not spinning, and then dodge in between them. So here we stood on the scythe. Now we're in between them. Our bear roars, and we spread again. So Vin and Midget both get raged, so they move to the left of the boss, and the rest of the raid stacks up directly behind the boss, aside from the range rages which stand in the middle. We bait the module here, and we DPS the module, and as you see, our melee will eventually run out here. This is the only time there's a real disconnect from the boss, is when our tank says he's dying, and our other tank taunts. So they both run out, they both run to the left. The scythe is a bit closer than Midget anticipates, so he gets scythed here. That's fine. He needs to die to collect orbs at some point anyways. That's fine. So here I'm going to pause it. After that bait, there's the first sentence. And the first sentence, DKs can immune every 2 sentences in a row. The way to do that, as a DK personally, is you have to AMS in between the 4 and 5 second window. So from 4.1 to 4.9, you hit your AMS. That means you have about the 0.5 seconds and up on the second set to hit your AMS. So you'll see me just mash an AMS on the second set. Obviously, we don't immune any, which is fine because we have every cooldown up. The first set of like having 3 chains is fine. So we break them both at the same time. We link. There's a potential here you might want to pop IBF. You might want a Hellstone if you feel low. Just helping your healers out the best you can is going to help you kill this fight. So as you see, Vin is still on the left on the boss. We move right to bait the module. We bait the module. Our tank's going to say, I'm dying here on a site that he's supposed to die on. And the boss gets taunted over top of Vin. And as you notice here, Vin never loses uptime on the boss. Like, he's always hitting the boss. We're always having uptime as a melee, and that's a really good thing. So here we spread again. I get rage, and I immediately tuck into a corner away from the raid. I could have gave Flawless a bit more room here so he could have moved up, but it's fine. He can walk over. There's potential you can dodge in the middle with these sites. As a rule, you can actually evasion and just actually dodge the sites. So as you can see, I'm directly behind the boss, dodging the sites, and then I tuck into a corner again so I can give Flawless room to move up and hit the boss together. Once again, our raid baits the module. Our tank's going to die here, and then our other tank's going to just taunt the boss over top of the melee. So there's the death, he taunts over the melee. This is the only time I lose real uptime because Monk Taunt makes the boss move quicker. And I'm a slow DK. So here, we're going to get our last set of sites. Because we die on the third set of chains instead of the second set of chains, it's a bit more difficult, but there's nothing too crazy about it. It's an overall larger payoff in the end of the fight. So this is the last set of sites we get for the whole fight. I tuck myself back in a corner again so I give anybody else room that they can, you know, sneak in beside me and whatnot. As you see here, the next set, Brand sneaks in right beside me. You can do this. You can double up with rages. You can stack side by side. And now we go and die here. I eat a rent to just have that out of the way for when we res. So we all die here, we release, and then we kill the orb. The orb's baited in not the greatest spot, but that's fine. So we just go really hard on this orb, make sure it's very small when we kill it. Then after that's done, we let range finish it off and we're back on the boss. So the benefit here of dying on the third set of chains instead of the second set of chains, it's just there's a lot more uptime on the boss. So we're basically going to have almost 45 seconds of literally just hitting the boss. And for melee here, what we do now is we have me and Vin on the right closest to the module, and then Brandon Flawless on the left. Midget's dead for the most of this phase because he's collecting orbs for us after the module dies so we can get Titan Forge in. So here Gaze goes out, it's our fourth set of sentences. We all immune together. This is the most important set of sentences. And as you can see, Bubba is the only one that gets it, so that's awesome. So here, I move to the right, and me and Vin kind of screw this up because we need to res the tank, so we could have either moved quicker or res the tank faster, but it's fine because we both still have a decent amount of uptime, if not almost full uptime on the boss. The fifth module dies, and then the rest of the fight here is literally just hitting the boss. We second pot on the fifth module, and then we lust as soon as it comes up off cooldown. And as you can see, once again, this is like our P2 strat. Vin is on the right, or sorry, Vin is on the left, and I'm on the right of the boss. We pop lust here, and the rest of the fight is legit just a burn. Majority of phase 3 is after the sights are done and position is set, it's literally just a burn. So here we're getting our last set of gazes and sentences. No one has really immunities for the sentences, so it's just healing them. And the spread here, we spread out. If you're a melee who gets fear here, you go to the middle of the boss, help each other out, and then you need to run out to bait the module. Essentially you bait the module in melee and it just gets cleaved down and you wipe your raid because it blows up too early. So here, we're just smacking the boss. This is the end of the fight, and it's legit just a timer between you need to kill the boss before that module blows up. We have a good timer still on the Berserk. We've got about 10 seconds when the boss dies, and the rest of it is legit just a huge burn, and we kill the boss. So overall here, phase 1, phase 2 is pretty static. You have set positions, and that's the key thing, is always have a set position. P3 is a bit more gaming it, having a proper positioning, and just making sure you can always hit the boss, helping your friends, finding corners that you can hide in, finding spots that you can tuck into just so anybody else can move up and hit the boss with you. Overall, this fight sucks for melee, but you can make it work. You just have to have a set plan. Every melee has to follow the set plan, and you always have to help each other out. Whether it's fear, whether it's moving over a bit for rage to get in as well, you just always have to help yourself out. So anyways, I appreciate you guys all for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. If you have any questions, I stream. I'll post the stream in the description below along with my Twitter. And good luck everybody on Mythic Argus. It's a really fun fight. It's a good fight, and I hope you like this video. So take care all, and I'll see you guys next.